I think a lot of stuff stems from things like this. Like when you don't like music, when you don't like some new records that come out, like this perception just starts to become that like, oh, you're a D1 hater. Like this is just what you enjoy. This is what you just get off to. You just like not liking what I like because you have this like sadistic urge to see me in some type of mental distress because you can't fathom the idea that I would be in my room thirsting over the validation of a nigga that I don't know to like an album that I like to validate my feelings about a record that I say I'm gonna listen to regardless. Me personally, if I like a record, bro, I don't need other niggas to like it or enjoy it to keep listening to it. When niggas saw me pick that Future album over to Pimp a Butterfly, that's how I felt during that moment at that time, at that day. You know what I'm saying? And I don't need to justify how I felt about it. Now, of course, I'm going to have my reactions for the stream because it's funny. It's funny. I ain't going to lie, bro. It's funny. See a niggas freak out to a decision like that. And I get it. But if you for 1 second think that I'm not listening to that album 1,000 times more than I'm listening to Pimp a Butterfly, then you're fucking insane. And I don't need to even justify it. If I decided to give no explanation for my pick right there, I would feel completely fine and justifiable. Just like I feel about my Jack Harlow opinion. But I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm judging, but I feel like when white niggas are involved, like white people that say they're diehard hip hop fans or whatever the fuck, when these niggas are involved, it's so weird. Even white rappers, for instance. When I say white rappers don't contribute much to hip hop and they haven't forwarded the culture or the ecosystem of hip hop or rap music, when I say shit like that, it becomes dangerously apparent every time a white artist drops a record that isn't, you know what I'm saying, that dude who's named after the gun, or Mac Miller, or LP, or Aesop Rock, or, you know, a myriad of other artists that have contributed that are white to hip hop. It becomes dangerously apparent that the vast ecosystem of white hip hop artists don't do shit for hip hop or rap. And so when I mention that, or when I go into the records not even expecting that much, niggas just assume that I'm hating on white people. Why? I don't have a reason to hate Jack Harlow. Like, come on, man. Ew. What, for what purpose?
But real talk, Big Sean needs his flowers because he should not have been so disrespected.
That's what I'm saying.
Is being glazed like crazy, like him being white defiantly plays a part of it. I'm sorry.
I just feel like the standard for white rappers is so, like, the bar is so fucking low that a nigga basically just has to make an album that isn't quote unquote poppy, put some soul samples behind it, and basically do a little bit of backpack rap to satisfy niggas. Whereas if a black nigga had uploaded or released the same album, y'all would not give it any type of critical acclaim or say that it was mind-boggling. Now I get it's a difference for Jack because his last album was just atrocious. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I understand why people will look at something like this and be like, you know what? I got to give him his props because this is way better. But honestly speaking, it's not way better. It's literally a copy and paste version of other niggas' shit that they did better, but to a lesser degree. And y'all want me to like this album because he's rapping, but about what? He's not a good writer. You can be a rapper and not be a good writer. And Jack is an example of that. Just because you're rhyming words over soul beats does not make your pen better. Yes, you're not poppy. You're not making songs where you're talking about I dictate shit Kim Jong over some weird beats every now and again. You're not, having a sex bar every other bar, but like, bro, your pen is atrocious still. Even when you try to get into serious territory, you still don't be talking about shit, or the way you talk about it could just be so much better or preferred from another artist. From another artist, man. That's really all it is. And so when I see people hardcore defending this album or trying to just put the blame on me for knowing ahead of time,
I prefer Future over Kendrick. Be honest, Is there an objectively bad Future album? Only project I feel people think don't really like is High Off Life from 2020.
I loved High Off Life. I love High Off Life. But like I said, if you don't, that's fine. But you don't have to justify it. You think in every moment of my life I'm going to say Kendrick over Future? Are you serious? You think every single day of my life I'm going to look at To Pimp a Butterfly and I'm going to look at DS2 and say To Pimp a Butterfly just because it talks about black plight? Is it a beautiful album? Of course it is. But as a regular black, and I'm going to say this honestly, a lot of people need to get this out of their minds, bro. An album, this is what I think is racist about hip-hop. I've said this already. This ain't going to be like a new take or anything. I've said this already. But the most racist shit in hip-hop is majority white people dictating what is important or what should be looked at as valuable to like black folks, I feel like. Like, why am I allowing you to tell me that this is a better album simply because it talks about something that you deem as something that I think I should care about more on a regular basis, bro? Like, it's okay. I completely understand why and the importance of The Butterfly. I get it. I've already dived into this album time and time again. But every single day, I don't feel like listening to this, and I don't have to justify why I don't want to listen to it every day. It's not me saying that, oh, yeah, like, of course Kendrick Lamar is a better writer than Future. I just believe that. But he's also a better rapper than most artists, or a better writer than most artists, bro. To Pimp a Butterfly is amazing. Of course. To Pimp a Butterfly is amazing. But that don't mean that, like, every single day, like, why are we so linear with this? Why are we so, like, narrow-minded when it comes to stuff like this? Like, bro, relax. So I go back to this Jack Harlow take, right? I look at this and I'm just like, is this all it takes? Because I just know for a fact somebody black making this album does not get the same love. I'm sorry. And it makes me so upset when Jack Harlow makes a song on this album talking about, oh, it's not because I'm white. Bro, that's literally a huge part. I don't want to make it the reason, but you are an anomaly. You are an anomaly because you are a white hip-hop artist. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. People make a big deal about that because it's not the norm. Why? Because the norm is black people are the ones who make hip-hop. Black people are the ones who rap. I expect a nigga to do it. That's why. Whether you think it's racist to feel that way or not, that's literally why. I expect black people to make black music. So when a white person comes in and they start stepping in and doing a little dance and doing a little thing, of course you're looked at as an anomaly. Immediately you get more attention based off that. Immediately. That's just a fact. Don't tell me that that's not true. Now, did you also put in massive work? Did you also work to get your name out there? Are some of the achievements that you have because you're genuinely a good person and you put that work in? Of course, that could be true. That could be true. But don't abandon half of the idea of why you're here, bro. That's half of the reason. It might not be half. It could be 45%. It could be 49.5%. But it's a large portion, man. It just is. That don't mean Jack Harlow is a bad guy or a bad person. What the fuck? Who cares? If the biggest rapper in the world, just like you said, Sizu, he's speaking facts. Eminem said the exact same thing on White America. If the biggest hip hop artist in the world contributes a large portion of his success to his whiteness in Eminem, why would you come in and be like, oh yeah, that's not the reason for me at all? Huh? But when black folks do shit white people listen to, we don't get half the shine they give Harlow or Malone or any other. Look, we can go on and on for this. There are so many examples to prove why, if a black person went into a genre that isn't looked at or accepted as black owned, they don't get nearly as much shine or attention. And the craziest part is white people are the main consumers of everything in the country. So it really would be up to y'all to make it so that a black person in country or in metal gets like an amazing amount of shine. I'm not saying that these genres are strictly white created, but they're white dominated to a point where black folks don't even listen to it like that. Not saying that they don't, but it's not like the preferred, you know what I'm saying, musical genre. Regardless, listening to this Jack Harlow album, again, I have worse. I feel worse towards it. I feel worse towards it than I did before.
Replay value plays a role in the quality of an album as well. Harlow's album has no replay value, and majority of rap albums were made by black people, so Sean ain't lying with this topic. Did Lil Wayne receive love for the Carter the Fifth the same way Harlow did?
Right. I mean, bro, these are. I'm talking about.
Future makes music that you can dance and feel good to. That's what music is all about. Of course skills matters too, but music has been about a vibe and dance since the 80s. Who's bumping to Ball in the Whip? It's a good album but uses common dollars.
I would never disrespect the genius that is To Pimp a Butterfly ever, bro. But I'm just tired of people holding these records up on the holy grail like everybody has to like monolithically agree that this is, you know what I'm saying, the thing that we should all have to be for. And I'm especially not listening to white niggas tell me what I should be listening to in regards to rap music, bro. Especially when the music that they're telling me to listen to and have to appreciate is from a white nigga emulating hip-hop or emulating other rappers that have done his style better. No, I don't have to say it's great when I don't think so. Sorry. I don't have to care. Does that mean Jack Harlow's a bad person? No, I'm sure Jack Harlow's a great guy. Really. I think Jack Harlow's probably a great person. But a lousy musician to me. But what I don't like, though, is like I said, I already explained all of that. I'm not going to be labeled a hater for that, bro. I'm just not. That's just weird. That's just weird as fuck. Now, before we get off Jack, I do want to see what our favorite white man has to say about Jack Harlethius. I just want to see what he has to say. Because I'm not listening. But I'll listen to what Fantano got to say, because I generally think that he's going to look at this from a fairly unbiased perspective, and he's probably not going to overhype it. I can say that. We going to see, though. We going to see. Let's see what he got to say. Let's see if we agree or disagree.
And I'll touch that nigga.
What our man's talking about? What the melon talking about?
Hi, everyone. Jack the Low.
That is very loud.
The internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Jack Harlow album, Jackman. This is the third official full-length commercial album from Louisville rapper Jack Harlow. A quick follow-up to last year's Come Home the Kids Miss You, which was kind of a make-or-break moment for Jack, with all eyes on him off of a killer guest verse on Lil Nas X's Industry Baby. There were a few singles that were big on display, but maybe low on substance. There was Nail Tech and also First Class with that terrible...
That's all of Jack Harlow's music, by the way. Low on substance, constantly, but... Go ahead.
Interpolation. Plus, you had a lot of people
most of it
wondering if Jack would hit a sophomore speed bump with this record and essentially see his 15 minutes of fame go up in smoke. But what haters don't remember about Jack Harlow is he was grinding for years in the mixtape realm before all this mainstream stuff and album stuff.
Making ass well before the mainstream appeal, which is something that I appreciate. You've been consistent your whole career.
The idea that Jack Harlow is going to let some negative reception stop him from rapping is a fantasy his naysayers will never see come to life. With all that being said, though, Come Home did leave a lot to be desired and exposed a lot of weak points for Jack as well. Limitations in terms of his versatility, lyrical focus, and songwriting ability. On this record, he came through definitively as a guy who for sure can spit, but not much else. So I went into Jackman here wondering if he would recalibrate in some way, and he most certainly has, with this project just being 10 tracks and 24 minutes in length, which for an album is pretty damn short. But after hearing this...
Wait, bro, the top 40 is 98% black or minority artists, white people the minority in rap? I don't know. Can you explain to me why you're telling me that? I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to be a dickhead, but I'm what are you saying when you say that?
it's pretty obvious as to why. Jack seems hyper aware of what his strengths aren't at this point, and rather than build and improve, he'd rather just not engage and just throw a bunch of shortcuts into the making of this record. It's clear Jack can rap and certainly establish an idea, but developing it and writing a whole song around it is kind of another story. Take the opening track, for example, Common Ground, where Jack brings up a lot of smart and fair points about white college kids consuming hip-hop, adopting the vernacular, appropriating the culture, in order to feel less harmless, as he says. But he doesn't really go any further on this track than just kind of pointing out these very obvious but unspoken observations in the hip-hop sphere. Because who wants to acknowledge that their audience is mostly white kids who they never intended to speak to or for? But either way, this and a host of other things go completely unacknowledged in this 1 minute and 40-second fleeting idea of a song. Jack cuts himself off and...
Why? Because he's a shitty writer. No hate to him, but once again, he's a bad writer. I've already said this.
Ends the whole thing before even thinking about stuff like industry profit motive, marketing, and exploitation. And also the ways he himself may have played into some of these issues as a white rapper. So on this song, Jack...
Bro. And I don't know why. I don't know why I'm looking at this situation like Fantano probably isn't also gonna get some level of you know what I'm saying, criticism or hate for it. But this is literally the point. This is literally the point. You're a decent rapper with a shitty pen. I just don't get what people were listening to when they heard this. I don't get it. Jack Shallow is crazy.
Definitely starts the convo, but he doesn't finish it. Maybe because if he dug any deeper, he might implicate himself in some way, which would kind of make it harder to be judgmental for 100 seconds straight. Still, it's not a bad listen vibe-wise, which I would also say is the case for the following They Don't Love It. We have punchy and persistent beats on this track, really chimey piano chops too. Jack is sounding charismatic as hell on the song, however, he occasionally gets in the way of that charisma with some pretty awful bars. Most notably this one over here, about being the hardest white boy since the one who rapped about vomit and sweaters, meaning Eminem. And I get it, it's a rap, you're supposed to act like, you know, you're the best out there, but there are objectively much better white rappers than Jack Harlow, and saying the one who rapped about vomit and sweaters is such an odd way to phrase it. First off, line is clunky. 2, it's one sweater. 3, the draw to that line is really mom spaghetti. You know, the part that's so iconic in the song, it became a massive meme, and the guy literally opened up a...
They gonna call him a dick writer for this, though. I know they gonna call him a dick writer. They gonna say, "Oh, you're hating crazy. You're hating crazy." That's crazy, though. He is going in on one bar. You know what? Let me go back. Where was the what bar was he saying again? I don't want to directly quote the bar. This bar, I heard this. I didn't have that big of an issue with it. I didn't. I guess because I didn't take it serious. It's just a thing to say. But that's because of my perception of most of Jack Harlow's music. Is like, it's just some shit to say. It's filler music. So I just don't take it serious. You know what I'm saying? But I get why you would look at this and be like, wait, what? There's so many others. So I get one person having an opinion on this, but me personally, I look at this, I'm just like, I don't take him serious. I don't take his thoughts on his place in hip hop serious. Kanye called him top 5 at one point. Like, I get it, but if it comes from him, knowing that this is his bars, these are his rhymes, bro, like, okay, you can say that if you want to.
About vomit and sweaters, meaning Eminem, and I get it, it's a rap, you're supposed to act like, you know, you're the best out there, but there are objectively...
Sean said white people don't push the culture, but bought and hung up a Mac Miller album contradicting ass. Are you serious? When did I say Mac Miller changed the culture? I just have a lot of respect for Mac Miller. I've always had respect for Mac Miller. I might not have liked every album, but don't confuse me having something hung up on my wall as a tribute to Mac Miller as me saying that he's, you know, a genre bending, pushing the shit forward. I never said that, but he's a good hip hop artist to me outside of him being white. Mac Miller's appeal never came from him being white. That's my point. The greatest white hip hop artists, their appeal is not that I'm a white boy. That's what you have to understand. Half of when Jack Harlow was even coming up in terms of him being looked at as great or good was that he was white. Oh my God, I didn't even know Jack Harlow was white when he made this song. You know how many times I heard that? Come on, man. Mac Miller never coasted off his race. Like I'm a unicorn in hip hop. He never did that, bro. He's been tried and true. He made his name from the bottom. He came up slowly throughout the years, slowly got his popularity and his name out there, built a fan base with good rapping. I'm not saying that he's, you know what I'm saying, the greatest rapper of all time, but I respect Mac Miller a lot. I ain't got nothing to do with him being white, and he never used that as a reason for why you should listen to his hip hop records.
Much better white rappers than Jack Harlow, and saying the one who rapped about vomit in sweaters is such an odd way to phrase it. First off, line is clunky. Two, it's one sweater. Three, the draw to that line is really mom's spaghetti. You know, the part that's so iconic in the song it became a massive meme, and the guy literally opened up a pop-up spaghetti restaurant in honor of it. There are some other cute and witty lyrical moments on the cut, but nothing as memorable or as standout as the low point, sadly. Moving on to Ambitious, which I think is one of the best cuts here. We have classy soul chops on this track, flows, and some worthwhile lyrics that see Jack kind of going over his success and trajectory in his career thus far. Nothing too profound on it, but it is well written and performed, and shows a lot of follow through for Jack.
I thought this was just sounded like a Kanye ripoff to me, but that's fine. I didn't mind the bars on this track either, but yeah, it just sounded like a Kanye song.
Then track 4 is asking us, is that I? After giving Suburbs filled with Ebonics the stink eye, I guess. It's a chill track, classy production, and pretty inoffensive, and maybe that's the best lane for Jack to be in.
Even Eminem may have introduced rap music to a larger audience, aka white people, which brought in more profit, but we see where that has led us currently. Majority have zero/no respect for black artists in life or death. Cough, cough, AI music. Yeah, I wonder who's pushing / co-signing that the most. Look, we see it. We see it. Even the greatest of the greats, like, you have I'm sure if you had a conversation with Eminem, his take on this would be far more realistic and completely in opposition to what the average person who's defending this record would be.
It was a debate with my friends, but I genuinely believe Logic. Jack Harlow, hear me out.
That's a fine take. Logic is a significantly better rapper than Jack Harlow. That don't mean that I like Logic's music right now, though. But it's just to say Logic's work. No, I won't say that. I don't believe that Jack Harlow at any point in his career will ever make an album better than Under Pressure. And I get if you hate Logic, I completely understand. But I don't believe he even has the pen to approach that album. And I know a lot of people think that that's like Logic's best. I can use another album like Bobby Tarantino, for example. Like, well, I can't say that. Jack Harlow got some things that I think more people will be willing to play than a Logic song. But in terms of being a better rapper or having as good of a pen, I don't think he's going to get to Logic.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
The following Gang 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 is a head scratcher. A pretty somber setup on this one, with Jack telling a story about a childhood friend who's been accused of abuse. Second verse, similar story, but even darker content-wise. And the third verse should have been, I think, an easy layup where he's kind of making, you know, the ultimate point here. Maybe to believe the victims of such attacks, but instead Jack says stuff like this. Truthfully, it's family till it can't be, gang till it ain't, twins, but it depends, brothers until something is uncovered.
And like I said, there is a better way to write a song about something like this. There is. If you didn't want to talk about it from the perspective of you believing victims or you understanding what victims go through, you could have legitimately wrote a song about a perspective that isn't normally thought about, in that when your friend is accused of something as heinous as this, you could have went into the background, right? Imagine Jack Harlow started Gang 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 off like this. Me and you was friends, blah, 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 blah. Like, they told the story from them being childhood friends, growing up, getting to certain points, and then he starts hearing certain shit throughout the song about his friend, but he kind of ignores it. And then at the end talks about what accountability can do in terms of helping or protecting victims. He could have easily done something like that. I didn't even need to know about another person when it came to like fiddling with children or anything like that. He could have very easily talked about his childhood story and come up with this person. You remember when what song was that? J. Cole, right? I'm not saying I want an 8-minute song though. I'm not saying I want an 8-minute song. But J. Cole made a song about his relationship with his best friend on For Your Eyes Only, from his friend's perspective and from his. I think that's J. Cole's best track written ever. I still love that song from J. Cole. But he could have legitimately made a record like that and ended it up with how they fell out because of the accusation, but because of the thing that he did. It would have been so much better, bro. But he's not a good writer. So when he talks about serious topics, they fall flat. And I saw so many people giving him credit just because he wrote about something like that. Did he execute? That's it.
He basically goes on to lament how unconditional love isn't so unconditional. What exactly are we complaining about here? Isn't it the behavior of these people what should be on trial right now? Jack seems to think that people only get held to account for their actions or see some kind of like social punishment for their behavior out of like a fear of cancellation or something. And not because there are people who are literally disgusted to their core with
PDF files.
the idea of
It's funny
being
'cause
bros for
even
life
though
is
music to be
not
murdered by Eminem was mid, it's at least 3 songs that holds more value some way than his albums. Like Darkness, You Gon' Learn and Lock It Up. Hell, John Cena is way better than Jack.
Bro, and you're right. You're right. Darkness, I think I congratulated Darkness for being a really good storytelling track from Eminem, but like I said, there are certain people, they dive into these subjects and they add weight to them.
When I start a topic and get praised for just thinking of the topic but not actually saying anything about it.
Yeah, bro, it's like some PR. Like something happens with you and your co-stars and you got to come out to say something, and that's why that bar about him, oh, our feet get held to the fire, it's like he handled it much like one of his reps handed him something to say something to social media or to the press about something that his friend did. Oh, I guess I gotta say something, and then he just says, yeah, hold him accountable. Our wording people is bad.
I know the song is supposed to be serious, but when bro starts dudes named Marcus and Kevin doing sexual assaults, it was just so awkward I kind of snickered.
And it came out of nowhere, bro. It completely came out of
Nice, but
left
not when you're
field.
talking about the well-being of children. It just seems like a
We
real
going from him talking about I want to be respected in hip hop. I'm a good rapper. I'm the best white boy since Eminem. To Kevin doing something crazy with these girls at a Target. Where did this even come from, bro? This song would have been so much better left off of this album.
really weird thing to focus on, given the context of the track. Plus, on top of it, friendships break up all the time for way more low-stakes stuff, like, I don't know, high school ends, or you move somewhere. And as far as the last leg on this thing goes, there's not a whole lot to report. No Enhancers has easily the most repetitive, boring, and mind-numbing chorus on the entire LP. Pretty much illustrates why this album doesn't have that many choruses.
Can't trust Kevin's.
Then It Can't Be is not a perfect track, but it does go over a lot better, with Jack kind of addressing the attack that he's only successful because he's white, saying it couldn't be his talent and taste in music and smile.
Or
and
Kevin is
charisma
crazy.
and the fact that he stayed with the same friends and his family who raised him to be upstanding. And
I was
for sure,
gonna
I'm
be,
sure all-
I was gonna be super. I was gonna be that would have been dick suck. I was gonna be super uncharitable to Jack when he said that. Oh, it ain't cause I stuck with the same friends. I was gonna make a joke about like, I thought you said you got rid of those niggas though. And gang, I thought you said that you got rid of those niggas. What you mean you stayed with the same friends the whole time? What do you have to tell us? What do you have to say, brother? Are you mean to tell me you've been lying to us this whole time on the same fucking album that you just said you deleted your previous friends? All of a sudden, Kevin and fucking Marcus just showed up again. You mean to tell me you've been with them the whole time, gang? For real? You're caught. 4K. You're under surveillance. I was gonna be on dick. I was gonna be on dick, but I didn't do it. I thought about it while I was when I was doing the album first time, but I
think about it.
Oh God, I don't even want to think about Kevin Spacey, because the more I think about Kevin Spacey, I just think about old. I don't even want to say that. Nope.
all of those things factor
Kevin Spacey's a nasty nigga.
in, but the whiteness is a thing. Plus, I think the concept of this track gets a little redundant after a while, even with it being as short as it is. The point is thoroughly made. Blame on Me is another relative highlight on the record, a very lyrically focused cut about a friendship that drifts apart, which not a lot of details and not something super profound, a lot like Ambitious, but it does feel complete. Then the closer is a very Drake-type moment with some nostalgic vocal chops, some warbly keys, over which Jack goes into this rapt monologue about his current mind state, his emotional state, his career, his life. If you've heard Jack's early tapes, you know this guy has been studying Drake's style and vibe for a long time. But despite all that effort, I wouldn't say he's as great at pulling off something in this vein. Plus, that one line kind of caught me by surprise about not wanting to make these lil raps and make anthems instead. Yeah, this thing is a very scant project. I don't really know what to make of, honestly. It kind of has the vibe of a very thrown together mixtape in a way, but simultaneously, while there are some major missteps on this thing, there aren't as many as there have been on Jack's 2 previous projects. So overall, on average, it's kind of better and more consistent. Possibly the best project he's come out with thus far.
That is crazy to say. Like, when I was listening to this album, I didn't think about Come Home the Kids See Me, because I really thought in my mind there's nowhere up but from here. From here there's nowhere but up. Okay, here we go. I'm not saying that Mac pushed the culture, but he as a white man has contributed and showed love to so many artists that are black, white, or whatever race. Also A$AP Rock, LP, Immortal Technique, Eminem. You are talking like rap is dominated by white people. They're literally the minority. What point are you making? What point are you making? My point isn't to say that white people aren't the minority in hip-hop. My point is to say that because they are the minority in hip-hop, white people are praised. That is the only minority in the entire human history that you will see a minority be praised for being a minority, and not because they're great rappers. The fuck are you talking about? The difference between minorities in real life and white people in hip-hop and in media is that when they are the minority in a particular ecosystem or a space that is generally black dominated, they get praised for being like for having a small amount of them. That's it. And I'm not saying there aren't great hip-hop artists that are white, but like, bro, what conversation are we having? Who gives a fuck if white people are minorities in hip-hop? You could hand me 5 Indian rappers. If they were all fire, I wouldn't talk to you about them being Indian. I wouldn't ask. I wouldn't give a fuck. Honestly, Nevermind is only tolerable because it's a song. I don't think so. I heard a song off Honestly Nevermind not too long ago, and I was just like, bro, I'm so glad I heard this first time around. Nav. I keep forgetting Nav is a person. Every time I say something about somebody, y'all remind me of somebody. I'm like, I didn't even know he was like that. I didn't even know he fell into that demographic. I did like that. That last Nav album wasn't bad though. Y'all can hate as much as you want. That last Nav album wasn't even that. I can show you that one record, bro.
However, the reason I think that is because he just doesn't really take a whole lot of shots on this.
That shit today I saw about you was corny. People want you stay in one lane and never change. Makes me want get off Twitter TBH.
I'll talk about that very, very slightly, though, and then we'll get into the Met Gala fits.
Project, depriving himself of opportunities to miss as a defense, which does not a great album make. I'm feeling a light 5 on this record. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you...
Hated it. My bad. I didn't mean to say that. I was crazy. Yeah, I feel basically the same. Here's the thing, though, right? As I was saying before, here's the thing. Light 5 is crazy. That's fine, you know, like whatever score. But this is why, like I said, I don't give scores to albums anymore, because it's just not something that's for me.